Hey, 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 happy Friday. Welcome to Tea and Tips episode 96. And today is a really amazing one. So Tea and Tips is weekly, every Friday, live here on Instagram with me, Emma York from Fresh Approach Digital. And normally I talk about the latest each week about social media. And I've had a lot of guests. And this year I've ramped up the amount of guests and I've had one every other week. And today's guest is really special. I've known Jake a really long time, but we'll talk about that in the live. Jake is Global Security Advisor for Eset. He's previously worked with Dorset Police on cybercrime, and he is super knowledgeable about social media security. He was recently on the BBC Breakfast Red Sofa, talking to Naga and Charlie about, as you would imagine, the TikTok ban and social media security. And so I know it's really topical right now, and security is already a really important one. So we're going to get him in any minute now. He's not done this before, but he's been on the BBC Breakfast Sofa, right? So we'll wait for him to come in, and we're going to talk all about. I didn't offer him a green room or a rider or anything like that. Hopefully technology will allow, and here we go.
Hello.
Good, how are you? Good. Thank you so much for coming on Tea and Tips.
Cool. You're very welcome. This is great. I like this. Like I was saying to you, this is a new experience for me, and I wanted to make sure it was going to work.
Sadly, we'll not have the audio or the visuals that you're happy with because you're very used to big screen TV. But what we're going to talk about is way more important, so don't worry about it. Good, and I'm loving your home studio.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Yeah, I love this. My little garage.
Fantastic. So I was just telling everybody about how you were on the BBC Breakfast Red Sofa, and I just watched it back again just now, and it made me laugh because when you posted about it, you put that you got asked stroke grilled, and I was just laughing because Naga was really going at you.
Yeah, that was scary. I think one of my mates said, you answered everything like a politician would, but that's taken a lot of practice, a lot of radio. Do you know, so radio I've done lots of, which I love. You normally get 10, 15 minutes even, but yeah, very grilling questions. Being able to just dance around the subject, but also offer advice, because that's clearly what I want to give, but not be grilled. And yeah, she was really going for what was in my phone. And I thought they were talking like forensically. And I was thinking, are you sure you mean this? But no, of course, they wanted to know if I use Facebook, WhatsApp, and so on, which is good. But I didn't really want to go down that route.
Yeah, exactly. And you did so well. And then when they started asking you really personal questions, I was like, oh no, this is not good.
Yeah, it could have gone any way. But do you know what? I loved it. And they've asked me back next week, not on breakfast, but I'm doing BBC News again.
Amazing.
Wednesday evening, which is going to be cool.
But you were very good. But let's move on. I'm not BBC Breakfast, although I have got several questions. But basically, for anyone who has been living under a rock, quite frankly, you were talking all about the TikTok ban. Now, we all know, many of us will have trawled it. I was really honest last week on Tea and Tips. I did not sit through all 4 hours of his hearing, but I've watched a lot of it. Oh, did you? Well, good for you. Couldn't do it. I was getting so angry. Can you just help can you summarize it? Is it still ongoing now, or is that done for him? Has he had that and that's finished?
Well, that was it for the US, really wanting to put their stamp on putting a load of security questions to him. He was amazing at answering them in a way, like you were saying, like a politician would, with the very clever, I'll get back to you on that, with some stats and data, cleverly done, of course. He was grilled himself, but I don't think it's going to damage TikTok. I think it's going to take a hell of a lot. Actually, overnight, that night, Utah then said, right, we're going to we'll use a curfew on TikTok. Now, of course, how are they going to do that? They're not. kids, teenagers, young people, whatever, they're very good at bypassing anything you put in place. And so if you use that as well as cyber criminals, they're very good at knowing how to get around these things. I think it was a time to put some tough questions to TikTok to make the US look like they're really tough on this, but really, they can't really do that much. I don't think they're ever going to ban it, although if there was a choice between banning it and the US buying TikTok, I think China would prefer a ban because at least it will then still get used in the US. Whereas if they sell it, well, then they're not going to get what they actually want.
Do you think, though, all of this about TikTok, there's a wider issue about all of social media? It's just, surely, I mean, you and I use social media all day, every day, but surely it's not just honed in on this one platform, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great way of making everyone aware of social media and the amount of data it steals from you. I mean, we're talking a hell of a lot, right? So from just your location, your contacts, your phone number, your everything is all taken by all of the apps. It's just TikTok is extremely intrusive, and the potential of where it's sharing it. And that's what's making everyone think about this, which is great. And that's the point I like. We're now starting to talk about our privacy and our data privacy, and especially young people that just don't care about it. So to bring it up in an app that they're using all the time.
Yeah, no, I agree. One thing that Naga said, and I'm going to put this in a tweet, that I despised, was that she said that TikTok was a younger person's app. Now, I hate that because I use it and I'm not young. That's fine. And a lot of people that I follow and I engage with and that I make content for are not young people. So do you think there's a massive black hole of misinformation about how good TikTok can be?
Yeah, and if you look at COVID, that changed the demographic massively. It probably was a young person's app before COVID. But also, I think the twist in that statement is probably the creators in TikTok can be all ages. Because when I got asked to create our TikTok channel for my company, I said, absolutely no way, I'm not 20. And they went, no, look at this. And they were showing me the ages of everyone who uses TikTok to create content. It's very wide. And they said some people are in their 50s and 60s that are getting the most hits. So that blew my mind. Of course, it's the users they are still generally under 30 in the masses, but it is growing because it's just another quick video app that totally works. It's going to grow. I don't think this is going to really affect them too much, but it is just largely used by people under.
No, and I agree that. And had she have said that before making her statement, I would have been here for that. I don't like, and I thought when I watched a lot of the hearing, a lot of their questions, they weren't even questions, they were just a barrage of statements, were from a lot of really bizarre misinformation, and I just think that could be an issue.
Yeah, and that's the irony here. It is a wash of misinformation, and people, whatever age, don't corroborate it. I mean, the one that hit me was when Nicola Bulley went missing, and there was a video going viral of them bashing a door down and saying they found a body. I mean, horrible for everyone watching that, and it was just total rubbish. I think it was nowhere near. I think it was in Scotland or something crazy that I read up afterwards. Just to go, this is how news and information is being consumed. That's a very scary point. And so, yeah, hopefully people will start to be able to know how to corroborate information.
My friend Will is watching us live. Bless him. He also is over 30 and uses TikTok. Smart Fishing UK. He said it's another platform that captures an audience that then migrate across to his other platforms. He thinks it's a brilliant tool.
That's it. That is absolutely key here. So I completely agree. And in fact, I hear that TikTokers don't make that much money through TikTok, but they get an audience through it, and then they go and pass them over to the others. Instagram and Facebook can be a way better platform to make more money.
Because that is what they've built. They have already created their own audiences before Instagram and Facebook started taking on TikTok, so to speak. But you're absolutely right. Yes. Yeah, that's it. And we here,
Yeah.
everyone who is here watching me now, they know I am a big fan of repurposing, so that when I make a TikTok or an Instagram reel, they go everywhere. So that's another thing, right? If TikTok were to go, let's just say, it's going to
Yeah.
get somewhere else.
I, I got friends that are purely just using one social media, so I don't think that's that bad if you cross-purpose it among them all. I'm a big Twitter fan, I love it, but I'd say most of my close friends aren't on Twitter. But it gives me
Yeah.
another family as well.
Yeah,
Actually, I
we've
quite
got
like
lots of people agreeing with us here. Another one, another over 30 TikTok user, and Made by Miriam has said it's great for small businesses and makers, absolutely, for those behind the scenes and the creative process. I know so many people started in lockdown, started a small business, and have sold millions of products because of TikTok. It's just
yeah.
that kind of stuff, as I mentioned.
Big shout out, by the way. Big shout out to Miriam and Christian there. I love those guys. I haven't seen them in ages, so yeah, hello. Christian, you're not over 30, surely not. You're always going to be 21. That's insane.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So let's just stop talking about TikTok in its own. In social media in general, there is, like you said on the BBC, and you've
Yeah.
said it here this morning, there is so much data, isn't there? We are setting up accounts to shop with Very
Yeah.
and ASOS and all these other things, and now we want our food to be delivered. Data is going everywhere all of the time, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Huge amounts of data. It's just about limiting that where you can. I'm always talking about burner emails. I don't think anyone uses them, but it's great to talk about burner email addresses. That's one of my favorite things to say start with. You don't need to use your main email address for when you create an account. It can be a separate one. And when I say burn, you can kill it off as soon as it gets way too much junk in it. I have a main personal one that is
Yeah.
just for friends, family, which is really personal stuff will go through there. Buying a house 2 years ago, I had to
Yeah.
send passport information through it to the mortgage advisor. And then I had to send loads of sensitive information via email to solicitors. I don't want that one ever popping up somewhere else. That's got to be where it's going to be secure. And in fact, only recently I was reading that there's an increase in when cyber criminals are attacking into your email address because they found your password on the dark web or wherever, they then do searches within it for the word passport or for the word I don't know, passwords even actually, I think it was. And then they'll get a photo of it. And I was only talking to some journalists recently. This is how someone had an O2 contract taken out in their name, and they were being fined by O2 for not paying up for this iPhone they'd bought, all because their password had been compromised. They got into their email address. They then found a photo of the passport. They used that to then go through the authentication process. Unbelievable. When you like work it all out, it all comes down to the email and the password that was used.
It's quite scary though, but I think it's actually really good that we're talking about this and you're using examples from, God, I hope that person got that thing sorted. And it is, everyone's got a story, haven't they, of something, but it's about how we can protect ourselves. So when you say burner email, are you talking like a Hotmail or a Gmail or something quite?
Something random. Apple can offer it to you called Hide My Email. I love that. You can use that because then if they ever get breached, it won't come back to your email address. It'll just be a random email what is it, iCloud.com or whatever. But yeah, you can just make one up. Just be, I don't know, happy Friday afternoon at outlook.com. That will be just there, and then you keep that username and password in your password manager. We'll come on to that in a bit. But yeah, then it's kind of written down somewhere. And if that ever gets compromised, it starts to get too much junk. It gets far too much rubbish going into it. And then, kill it off and make up another one. Friday afternoon 2 at outlook.com. That doesn't matter. All right, whatever it is.
I love that. And I love how you burner email. You said it on the BBC and I was like, oh, maybe this is some secret, thing, but you just meant another email, and you describing it makes so much sense. I don't know why, but then yes, let's please talk about password managers, because a lot of people find it too much, don't they? I saw a tweet that you responded to. A guy had all his Gmail accounts open and they all got closed down, and he was really angry about it. But there's security in there. Google don't want that open. Like if you left your laptop open in a Costa, someone's going to access all those. If they're inactive, they're going to get closed down.
Yeah, so passwords, oh my God, they're the bane of everyone's life. I get that. I'm always doing talks, and the amount of times I'll say, right, who uses a password manager? 10% will put their hands up. And if it's a security audience, ironically,
Wow.
maybe 20% will put their hands up. I mean, because everyone just goes, oh, I've got my way of doing things or whatever. The majority of people love to use things that are related to them, or the same 3 passwords. I mean, I can't believe I'm still talking about this in 2023, because then they are so susceptible to being hacked. And so get a password manager that can create a password for you, stick it in this very secure vault. Yes, it's on the internet, but only you and your device will be able to access it. No one else can then get into that unless they have you, your face, and your device, which will be your phone or your laptop, right? And then it's so much safer than using your dog's name.1, which everyone loves to use a dog's name or their firstborn child. It's always the firstborn. And the number to get into your phone, that is, oh my God, that's a massive thing at the moment. And that's what I'm talking about next week on the telly, actually, fun enough, because people are seeing people type in the number on their phone, and then they're into their phone, but that number can sometimes be related to them, 4 or 6 digits. It's going to be a date of birth or something that's related to them, or a simple pattern. And it's just the opening door to get into
I think
someone's life.
the moral of that is that we need to be as random as possible, right? I mean, someone gave me a really good tip about passwords, and you're logging into it, and what are you looking at right now? Paper, pencil, candle. And while the 3 words, while it'll make no sense to anyone else, it's so random that but yeah, I use a password manager. I love mine. My passwords are so long and so ridiculous, I'd never remember them, but that's the point. I don't need to, right?
That's it. Don't have to. Oh my God, that's absolutely right. I love hearing when people say that, but when people start using them, they then realize, okay, this is making my life extremely easy now. You copy, you paste it. It couldn't be any easier. And you talk about being random. Being random is actually quite hard. So if you allow it to generate the password for you, it can be 20 characters long on a button, just looks absolute gobbledygook. You never have to remember it, and then it's there forever. And then you don't have to change it as well. A lot of people talk about changing passwords every 3 months, 6 months, whatever. You don't actually have to if it is extremely unique. Obviously, if it ever gets compromised, and you know about that, you can.
And that's it. You only have that one password you need to remember that then gets them into the main your account.
Yeah, so that one will get you into the password vault, into the manager. A lot of people freak out about that. Oh, what if anyone else finds out about that password? Well, again, it comes back to that password is also needed with your phone, okay? So if you knew my master password, you would not be able to get into it because I haven't authorized any other device to get into it.
So Anna has just asked, can you recommend any really good password managers?
Okay, yeah, I get asked this a lot. There's a lot of talk around LastPass, but then ironically, they did get hacked recently. And so that one used to be in the top 3. I don't think it is anymore. I think the number 1 at the moment is 1Password. That's the number 1 password. And then Dashlane, another one that's very good, and KeyPass. They are all 3 of them are fantastic. They're all independent, but you can use your phone. A lot of people go, well, what about Google's password vault and Apple's as well? They're good, but then if you're cross-using devices, so maybe you have an Apple iPhone, but then use a PC, you can't jump between them very easily. That's why I think a third-party password manager like 1Password is so much easier. It can then be in your browser for your laptop, and then on your phone, and then no one else can ever use them.
That's it. James Harris Hawkins has said they're missing your point.
Oh no, we don't want to hear from James.
James, get out. They are missing your point of 1 device.
Maybe. Just James is probably going to, in a minute, start talking about
Right.
bringing cash back. And he's so old school. Me and him have
I
arguments
can
about
imagine.
digital money and real physical cash. I get rid of cash. We don't need it. It's all about using
Come
Apple
on, James,
Pay. Come
let's get
on.
with the program. We're talking
Yes.
about 2023 here. So if we're going to talk about, we're talking about LastPass and password managers, and I love that. I'm a big advocate for those. And my favorite thing that I tell everyone that will listen is two-factor authentication. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely.
That's something you want people to use?
Yeah, so that's what password managers are using. The second factor there is your device. But most people will know two-factor authentication through a text message, or maybe if they're really good, an authenticator app to get that code. And then you get a code sent to you by an SMS or your app, and then you put it in just after you've put your password in. It proves that it's you. Now, cyber criminals are very good, obviously. They know how to bypass this. A very clever way of doing that would be to manipulate someone. This is where targeted phishing comes in. So they pretend that you don't realize you're on a fake site, and it'll say, type in your 6-digit verification code, and then you're giving it away to those scammers, and then they can do it in real time at the same time to get into your account. So it's about making sure you're definitely on the right website before you give it away. But if it's device-led, like these password managers, it's even better.
Yeah.
Banks are doing it brilliantly now. So if I were to send you some money, say you're a shop, I'm going to send you some cash. Actually, I did one just this week, just £10, doing something. I'm getting a puppy tomorrow, so I'm doing some stuff for the dog. 10 quid,
Yeah.
and it said, go into your app and approve it. I think that is such an amazing way, because I've already done all the approvals to verify me and my device on my bank, and I can quickly open it up.
Yeah.
It takes, 2 seconds, and click approve. That's done it all for me. There's no codes being sent. That's the only way that you can really prove authenticity. I think it's really, really a safe way of doing it. And we're going to start seeing this more and more in all apps. But if you're going to take one thing away today, is add two-factor authentication to your social media. Oh my God, the amount of people that come to me and say, I've had my account stolen, and I say, did you have 2FA set up? No. Okay,
it is,
James.
and I struggle with this a lot. I work with a lot of clients, and they're like, oh, but it's so admin heavy, it's so boring, and it takes time. And I'm like, yes, but that tiny bit of time to get the code or open the other authentication app and put the code in, it's going to save you from being hacked. It's such a shame that people are seeing it as a stop, like they're not doing, because it's just too admin heavy.
Yeah, so quickly, just on that, so 2 people last year came to me and said, I've had my Instagram account hacked. And I was like, okay, I'll do my best to try and get it back. The first one I tried, I just couldn't do it. Whenever I did, it was too far gone. He was a business, and it was so infuriating. And he lost all of his contact details, and people were still, he thought, sending requests in to buy, I think it was a wine shop. But the second person I did it for, I was actually successful, and it was amazing to see what the cyber criminals were doing, and able to get in through their emails, and then they blocked all the correspondence that had an Instagram or a Facebook email address. So when they were going through emails, they were saying, oh, I'm not seeing anything coming up in my emails at all. And so I went in there and said, I wonder if there's anything in the blocked emails. And there was, they'd blocked anything from Instagram. So it meant any of the codes being sent back to that email address were never being seen. It's impressive what they do, but so frustrating, because Instagram and Facebook do not have people on the phone that you can call them when something goes wrong. So it's on us. But if we can do it to prevent it, well,
absolutely. Yeah, Becky said that was me. I'm assuming the account that you helped with the hacking. Yeah, it's.
Was it? I didn't know. Oh, did I? Maybe I did 3 then.
You helped a lot of people by the sounds of it. So if you had to give three, Anna has asked, oh, tell us more about the puppy. Go on, tell us about the puppy.
Yeah, see, that's what they really
Nobody's here
wanted
for
to hear
anything
about. Yeah,
else.
security, whatever. Well, yeah, I was gonna talk more about it next week because she, a cocker spaniel. She arrives tomorrow. She's 8 weeks old. I'm going to be probably spamming my social media feeds way too much.
Watch your follow
over the
account
next,
increase because you've got a dog. It won't.
I was going to say
Watch it.
decrease.
Watch it rise.
No. I thought people would be looking at photos of puppies and go, nah. Maybe that's just actually when you have kids.
This
Go,
when
nah,
you realise what people are really interested in your content. As soon as you put in puppies, especially Anna Cocker puppy, no, watch that rise.
Yeah, and her name is password.1, so I can never forget it. That will
That
always
would
be
be
easier for me in
crazy.
future. Yeah, it's going to be.
Dot one. Imagine
Oh,
shouting
no,
that out in on the seafront in Bournemouth. Go.
Where's my password.1?
Okay, so we've taken up a lot of your time. To round up, if you had 3 top tips, I'm hearing possibly that burner emails is 1, password manager is 2. What would be your 3rd top tip for helping people stay more secure?
Update your phone. You've got to update that phone. People don't want to do it. It's not like the old days where it does take 3 hours and then you end up with a brick. They are there to secure your phone and keep you safe. I tell you this, that those security updates that Apple and Google fire out, they really are there to make those phones more secure. In the background, they've probably been finding loads of vulnerabilities, and they don't tell you all that. They just say security updates. Really, they found that there are loads of gaps in their code that are being exploited. So if they say, oh, there's an update, do it. It's not just to get new emojis. But by the way, I read this week, the reason that they have new emojis in every update, and this week it was 21 new ones in Apple, is actually to get younger people to update it, because otherwise they don't.
How sad is that they have to like tease people with new emojis just to make them do the update?
Yeah. Well, it works, and therefore it makes a job like me a lot easier, because when I go and say to people, right, who's been updating their computers, they go, oh my God, this is so boring. But if I say, hey, there's some new emojis in there, they're like, oh, let me do it.
And would you say that that's the same then for laptops and computers? Do your updates?
Yeah, I do, but they don't come with new stuff like that. They'll just do stuff in the background, and people go, oh, why do they do it when I turn my computer on in the morning? Oh, yeah, just make sure it's always updated. The earlier the
Jake,
better.
you have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
That's been great. It's been lovely talking to you. Do you know what? We haven't seen each other for a long, long time. God, you and I think we met over 30 years ago.
I think you were 10.
Wow.
Everyone on here, actually none of my sisters are on. Lucy said she would join, but nobody's on here. They won't know that Jake and I went to the same school, lived in the same village town. So yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
it's been nice. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Ella is trying to get me down to the Lighthouse Bournemouth for the next. Yes, she's there. Yeah, so I'm really hoping that our paths will cross again later this year.
Yeah. I bet they
No
will.
worries.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And good luck with the BBC
really
next time. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Bye.
See you soon.